let's have a look how in practice you can implement value-based pricing. So just as a reminder, we have 3 general approaches to pricing: cost-plus pricing, value-based pricing, and competition-based pricing. Now we will discuss in details the ways in which you can implement value-based pricing. So in the first approach, you have similar products with different price points, and this approach is used in fashion and food. In this approach, you extract the value by simply providing different options to the customer at different prices. You can witness this every day in the stores and restaurants you visit. For example, if you go to a coffee shop, you'll see a small coffee at a price of $3, medium at $3.5, and large around $4. The same approach is used in fashion. Every fast fashion player will have t-shirts or other clothes at different prices. Depending how sensitive to price you are or to the fashion element, you pick different items. More frugal people will opt for cheap basic options, whereas people with a bit bigger appetite for fashion will be more willing to spend much more on a slightly better looking t-shirt, dress or jacket. Usually in this approach, the difference in prices has little or nothing to do with the difference in the production costs. Another way to apply the value-based pricing is to provide the customer with one standard starting basic option that can be improved. If you're really all about low prices, you will stick to the cheapest option. But if your perceived value of upgrades is big, you will spend more on, for example, air conditioning in the car, maybe better leather or some additional services, and even more dazzling new color. In the third approach, we have one price, but we will offer many discounts for specific groups of customers or for specific behavior. If you're a student, for example, you pay less. If you bought more, you will also most likely get a higher discount. Discounts can be also given for other things. For example, work week, you will get a discount, whereas if you come during the weekend, you will have to pay a full price. Thanks to discounts, producers manage to influence the behavior of customers, and they're able to motivate them to act in a different manner. In other words, to buy more when the demand is low. And not surprisingly, this approach is heavily used in B2B. In the fourth approach, we use the so-called value metrics to estimate the price. In some cases, you want to estimate the value that the customer gets from your product and to charge him proportionally to the value he's getting from the product or the service. The most often seen example is the success fee used by consulting firms and law firms. You pay them a certain percentage of the winning or savings generated by them for you. This approach, where we apply certain value metrics, has been heavily adopted by the software companies that charge you using different value metrics. You can say that value metrics are designed to estimate the value that the customer is getting from the product. When it comes to, for example, SaaS, so software as a service companies, they may charge you, for example, for space occupied, number of emails sent, or number of integration used, etc. We're gonna discuss it with some examples later on. The next approach is dynamic pricing. The end of the 20th century and the beginning of the 21st century saw the rise of dynamic pricing, which previously was possible only in theory. In dynamic pricing, you change the price to take into account the demand for the product. If the demand is low, then the price is low as well. If the demand is increasing, the price follows its suit and increases as well. This approach has been heavily used by airlines that were slaughtered by low-cost carriers like Southwest and Ryanair. Later on, it was adopted by other industries, including hotels or taxi services. And finally, you can have multiple prices for the same product. This is different from the first approach where we would have similar product with different prices. Here you have the very same product which looks exactly the same, but has a different prices in different places. The customer may not even be aware of the differences in prices. The best examples are retailers operating as a multi-channel across many channels. They usually have higher prices in offline stores and lower in the e-commerce stores. They may also have different prices if you go through some sort of an ad or through price aggregator. Certain retailers will also have a different set of prices, for example, for marketplaces where they are available. This approach assumes that customers have different value in different places. The guy in the retail store does not care that much about the price. He values convenience and he wants to get his product fast as well as to be able to talk with the sales rep. The guy buying in online store, on the other hand, is more concentrated on getting the product at a lower price. The third group, so people using price aggregators, don't care about the brand of the retailer at all. They are just looking at the cheapest possible way to meet their demand, meet their needs. So in other words, for them, the value of the brand is zero. So you have to obviously provide them with low, cheaper price. So that's in short when it comes to ways in which you can apply value-based pricing. We're going to go into more details into specific ways to do that later on. But for time being, let's move to a little bit different subject. So we're going to be talking about the process you should use to estimate the value-based prices.